Welcome to another episode of Ask Matt. I'm your host, SCL Matt, and this is episode 3. I want to thank everybody who has sent in questions so far. They've been great questions. We're going to get a bunch more of them today, and this show wouldn't be possible without these questions. So please keep sending them in. But remember, a couple of small rules or guidelines. One question per person per week. If you leave more than one question, I will not use any of your questions. And then also, please try to have your questions in by Monday. Most of you are good about this. You leave them right away. It's all good. But I want questions in by Monday so I can record on Tuesday and have this up on time on Wednesday for you. I've been running into a little bit of a time crunch with these, I don't know, they're not quite live episodes, but they're time sensitive. So without any further ado, let's get into this week's questions. First up, we have, how did you become great friends with Rob from CoinOpTV? So, well, it just kind of made sense. We were both huge Skylanders fans. We both cover Skylanders all the time. And then last year, so this was, just this past summer of 2016, I got to go to E3 for the first time, the big video game convention trade show down in LA. And I got to meet Rob and hang out with him, talk to him for a couple of minutes. We actually didn't get to talk too much at E3. We were both really busy. We were heading in different directions, and we only got a few minutes, but we made sure to talk some more afterwards, and this is what happened. So we've been working together a lot lately, and we'll probably continue that into the future, or at least as long as Skylanders exists. So that's basically the story. Not much to it. Just we're both big fans of Skylanders, and we finally got in touch with each other. If there is a fire and you can save one Skylander, who would you save? This question gets more and more difficult every year because they keep coming out with more and more Skylanders, and every year I like new characters, and there's so many more I like and I would want to save. And personally, I would like to think that these Skylanders can handle themselves and they'd all be able to escape the fire. But since the question is here, I'd probably go for, just because they're fresh on my mind, I have to go for one of the newer figures, and I'd probably go with Ambush. There's something about the figure, I just really like it this year, and his gameplay doesn't bother me at all. Like, it's not top on my list necessarily, but I enjoy it and I really like the figure, so I'll go with Ambush. Do you think they will stick to only having 2 to 3 characters per element in future games? I feel like this is the perfect number of figures. That way we aren't getting over or underwhelmed with figures. Personally, I think they found the sweet spot, and hopefully they stick to that number. It's hard to say, especially when we have 2 different studios working on games, and it's really just it's hard to say what they might do in the future. Never thought they'd get to this point. Never thought we'd see villains. Create your own character was kind of a lofty goal too back in the day. So it's really hard to say what they might do. As far as characters go, though, I think it is a good number. I think it's a number that they can work with fairly easily every year. They don't have to spend resources on all the time to create more characters, so they can kind of perfect the 2 to 3 characters per element. So that's like 20 to 30 characters, and yeah, I do think that is a good number. So hopefully they stick with it. I'm glad you realized that it worked out very well, and I mean, especially when, even though there may only be 31 Sensei, you know, we're getting, I think we're up to, I don't remember what the number is now, 12 or 15 variants so far. So it's they're always gonna bump up the number of figures they produce with the variant numbers. So even though the core number of figures is 20 to 30, there's always going to be more than that. So I think, but regardless of all the variants and everything, I do think that is a good number, and I really hope they stick with it. What system do you play on, and can we add you? So I personally play the majority of my games on the PS4. Last year I did pick up the Wii U so I could play with the Wii U racing version and see what was different there, and I could try out the Nintendo only figures and that type of thing. But this year I'm all on the PS4. I would say you can add me, but I don't play online that much, especially Skylander stuff. I'm spending all my time recording right now, and I don't have any extra time to play, so I won't be throwing my ID out there, but my username and all that stuff. But I do play on the PS4. What do you think Skylanders 7 will be about? That is the question. Like I said, this year already they've thrown so much at us that I just didn't expect, and so trying to predict the future is really hard. I kind of hope, kind of think that we might see some sort of expansion on the Imaginators create your own character type of thing. I think that's it's hard to, I think, come up with something past that. It's that kind of was like the ultimate goal, and so it's I don't know what you do next year unless you start adding in different modes and focus on that. I mean, what they kind of tried that last year with the racing, but I'm wondering if you focused on some more kind of battle mode, or like some kind of, I don't even know, like a League of Legends style type of game or something like that. I don't know what you would do to make next year stand out now. Hopefully they have something in mind. Hopefully they're working on something already. Hopefully they have a good idea and they're gonna surprise us again. But I'm not that idea guy. I don't have the ideas that there's a reason I don't work in games. So I will just be excited and waiting to see what they come out with when they announce it, and we'll go from there. Last year there were game updates that added extra features. Do you think this year we will get updates to give us more creation crystal parts? You would love coats, long hair, legs for swashbucklers, bodies for ninjas and such. It's very possible that they could throw in these updates. Obviously, like you said, we saw it last year. It is possible to add these things into the game even after it's released. But do I think they'll do it? Probably not. There's already more than 1,000 parts in the game, and I think I don't think they want to expand that too much this year. I kind of wonder if that's, to me, that would be another reason to continue with the create your own Skylander type of theme going into next year, because there are so many more options they could give you, whether it be different body parts or different weapons or different, I mean, even different battle classes if you wanted to. There is so much you can do with the creation aspect that I think it almost could warrant another game focused on it rather than just updates. I know other games, non-Skylanders games, have gone very update crazy. They update all the time. They give you new parts and new maps, and they're just updating for some games update for years after the initial release. But with this yearly release cycle, unless they drop the yearly release cycle, if they drop the yearly release cycle, I could see them giving us updates with more parts and such. I think that would be the only way that we're going to see these updates. It's possible, yeah, like I said, it's definitely possible that they could. Do I think they will? No. Is there any information on the mold, the creation crystal that comes with Enchanted Elven Forest? I'm planning to get one of each element, but the different molds so I can know which one to get now. Yes, there is. In fact, I did a little prep work, and if you bought the Griffin Park Observatory, well, if you saved the box, you already have this information, but if you didn't save the box, I'll show you here. Right on the back, we have the picture of the Enchanted Elven Forest with Boom Bloom, and hopefully you can see it there, but if you can't, that is the Air Lantern Creation Crystal. The Air Lantern Creation Crystal will be coming with the Enchanted Elven Forest Adventure Pack. Which villain from Trap Team would you have liked to seen as a Sensei? Well, honestly, my number one villain that I wanted in the game was Hoodsickle, and amazingly enough, we got him. So I'm very happy. If I had to pick another one, I kind of mentioned this before, but I would like to see a Chompy. I want a figure of a Chompy, not just the Happy Meal toy version, although I would like some of those. But I would love a playable figure of a Chompy, and to see what they could do with that. I don't know what it is. I like the Chompies. Or you could go with Bone Chompy. There you go. Get a slightly more exotic. Not, instead of just your regular Chompy, go for the Bone Chompy. Other than that, something with that is one of the big machines that's driven by the trolls, like Shredknot or Smokescream, or there's one more. The Bruiser Cruiser, one of those the big mechanical kind of mech looking things that the trolls control. One of those could be an interesting figure, and definitely give him some interesting powers along the way, I think. So that could be possible. I'd be interested to see one of those, but yeah, I got my number one. It totally unexpected, but glad to see he made it into the game. Which creation crystals come in the 8-pack, and do you know if there will be US release of it? So I actually just put up an article about this yesterday. The 8-pack, the article itself is about all the creation crystals that we know so far, because I get questions like this all the time. So there is an article out there about it, but I'll answer it here for you anyway. The 8-pack includes the Undead Claw, the Tech Reactor, the Life Acorn, the Magic Claw, the Earth Rocket, the Dark Pyramid, the Water Armor, and the Light Fanged creation crystals. So 6 of those 8 we already have, whether in single packs or triple packs or some other form. But there are 2 that are currently only available in the 8-pack, and that's the Magic Claw and the Dark Pyramid. So those are the only 2 that are currently exclusive to that 8-pack. I hope we get them separately outside of that 8-pack, but we don't know yet for sure. Will it see a US release? I think it will, but I also think it's going to be very limited. If you remember the 8-pack of traps that we got back in Trap Team that had the exclusive steamed broccoli guy in there, It showed up in the US. A lot of places, I think, a lot of people, I only saw it at Target. I don't know about you. I don't know if it even hit like Toys R Us, but I only saw it at Target. I think they only had like 3 or 4 packs at my local store, and those sold out pretty quick. So it's if that happens again, if we get that 8-pack here, I think it's going to be in short supply. I think it's going to be a very limited supply, and that's why I really hope that they release those other 2 traps separately, because we already have 6 of them. I don't need the entire 8-pack. I just need those 2 traps, or 2 crystals, sorry. So I do think it'll come, but I think it's going to be hard to find even when it does come. I know it's been released in a bunch of other countries already, and that sometimes, if you really want the 8-pack, it might be worth importing. So keep that in mind. Next question: Is there another way of resetting the crystal without using the 3DS? Can you use the Xbox 360 version of Swap Force or SuperChargers? So I have also written an article about this. So the short answer is no. There are kind of 3, almost 4 ways that we have found that this works to reset the crystals, and I have these outlined in my article. But basically it does not work for the Xbox or the PlayStation. We just haven't been able to get it to work with any game so far. So Xbox and 360, or Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, they're all out. They're not going to work. What we have found that works is the 3DS with Spyro's Adventure, the 3DS with Giants. The 2DS also works. So 3DS or 2DS, they're interchangeable. Then you need the Giants, a copy of Skylanders Giants for the Wii. But then you can use that copy of Giants for the Wii on the original Wii or on the Wii U if you put it in Wii mode. So that's the 3 or 4 different ways. It's the same. You're using the same game, but you can use it on either system. So it's something to keep in mind. There is another option outside of the 3DS, but you need a Wii or Wii U, and the Giant. That one, it only works with the Giants copy on the Wii. It does not work with Spyro's Adventure, surprisingly. So something to keep in mind. Do you think it's too late for a fan like myself to start a Skylanders review channel? No. Honestly, as long as there's still a fan base for whatever game you're playing or whatever game you want to review, if there's people playing the game, if there's people watching the footage, which there still are, it's never too late. Now, is it gonna be easy to get viewers, get subscribers and such? No. You need to find your angle, your niche, what makes you special or different than the other guys out there. What's gonna draw people to your channel? You need to find something, whether it just be your personality or whether it's something special you do with the channel. It's hard to go into in a short video like this, but you need to find some way to make yourself stand out so people notice you. As you can, I'm still struggling with that myself. I've only really been pushing my YouTube channel here for about the past year. I've been really producing content for it, and I'm still struggling. Like, I just hit 1,000 subscribers a couple weeks ago, and I'm struggling to keep those numbers growing and growing and growing, because there are so many other Skylanders channels out there that it's hard to get the attention of the people who are already following other Skylanders channels. They feel that they're getting enough information, enough content from them that it's hard to draw them away. Now, with that being said, there are new fans coming in every day. There are people who have never played Skylanders. We have Skylanders Academy that is drawing in new fans through Netflix. I've heard of people already who have watched the show on Netflix, and then just that's the first introduction they've ever had to Skylanders, and now they're getting into the games. So there are always new people coming in, and who knows? Maybe they'll find your channel first and enjoy what you have, and go from there. But honestly, it's almost never going to be too late to start. You just have to start producing content and keep producing content on a regular basis. That's going to help a lot. And don't give up. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take you a while to get a fan base. But once you get a couple of fans, get them to start sharing all your content, hopefully then you'll start to see some growth and some positive things come out of your channel, and you can go from there. I was finally able to order my 3D printed Imaginator figure from the store, and I'm curious will it arrive at level 1. I have leveled my creation crystal to level 40. Nice, very nice. But I'm expecting the 3D printer to arrive at level 1. Is there a way to sync the two entities to one Imaginator figure? So I don't have one of these 3D printed figures myself. I haven't really talked to anybody yet that got one, but I fully expect them to arrive at level 1. That only seems right. And unfortunately, there isn't a way to combine them or transfer stats over. That's just part of the fun of the game, is getting to play that character and level them up. So if you really don't want to level it up, you just keep the character on your creation crystal as is and use that when you want to play it. And the 3D printed one that you bought is just a nice thing to put on your shelf. Personally, I wouldn't mind leveling up a guy again. I would enjoy that. Especially if it's your favorite character that you had created and printed in a 3D version. So I don't expect them. I fully expect them to come at level 1. And as far as we know, there is no way to transfer your stats over, because that would kind of defeat the purpose. There's no way to say, yes, this is the exact same figure, and otherwise you'd be able to transfer stats over to just about any figure, and that'd be weird. So yeah, there's not going to be a way to do that, but I'm pretty sure they'll come at level 1, and you're just going to have to level them up again. Do we have a definitive list for what's included in Wave 3? So we don't have an official list because they don't put out official lists. If you go to SkylandersCharacterList.com and go to the release date section, you can find that in the menu. I do have the figures we are expecting for Wave 3 marked there. So just to go over them briefly, we are expecting the Enchanted Elven Forest, which comes with Boom Bloom and the Air Lantern Creation Crystal. As for other single pack figures, we're expecting Flare Wolf, Pit Boss, Bad Juju, Buckshot, and Chain Reaction. And then we are also expecting 2 more combo packs. One with Dr. Crankcase and a Tech Crystal, and then one with Pinata and a Magic Crystal. However, I will mention that we have not seen the first 2 combo packs here in the US. So will we actually be getting those here in Wave 3? I don't know. I kind of am not expecting it. I think we'll probably just get the single pack figures again, and the combo packs might just be an international release this year. It's kind of always been that way. We don't see a lot of the multi-packs and the combo packs and that type of thing. That's why I'm not expecting a big release for the 8-pack over here in the US. I don't know if it's just a way for them to ship things overseas more effectively, to kind of put them in multi-packs and they can ship them over for cheaper than shipping a bunch of individual packages. I really don't know what the thought process is behind it, but yeah, I guess I wouldn't expect those combo packs to show up here in the US, but the single pack figures we know of, the adventure pack we know of. Not 100% on which crystals we're getting, but we should be seeing, we are expecting a fire crystal in a single pack and a dark crystal in a single pack. So if you've been waiting for those, if you didn't pick up like the dark edition, or if you weren't able to get the 8-pack that also has a dark crystal in it, then we should be getting more dark crystals in wave 3 here. Not sure what mold it's going to be. Don't know exactly what other creation crystals are coming out in wave 3, but we are expecting 2 from those elements to show up, so we have single packs of those as well. Then we have, are there any Imaginator classes you would have liked to see? Personally wanted to see an elementalist or a shield user. So I think the big, they probably had some guidelines for their battle classes this year. If you look at them, like they each only wanted one weapon per se. I mean, I know like the swashbucklers have one for each hand and the ninjas have one for each hand, but it's the same weapon replicated, so it's not like a sword and a shield, because then you'd have to pick like 2 weapon pieces for your character, and I think they wanted to avoid that. So I think there's a reason we didn't see specific battle classes, such as like something that included a shield, or someone who just had magic powers but no weapon. Like the sorcerers kind of use magic, but they have that staff, so that's their weapon. If you had a character with no weapon and just had a power, like it almost seemed like a step down from any other character. So I personally, though, is there an Imaginator class I would have liked to see? I can't come up with anything offhand. I'm surprised they came up with 10 already. And when you think about it, some of them are kind of similar. Like a knight has 1 sword, a swashbuckler has 2 swords. So like, if I almost felt like they were stretching it already this year just to get to 10. And now obviously I understand they have different fighting styles yet with 1 sword, 2 swords, and the 1 sword is usually bigger than the 2 smaller swords and that type of thing. So there are differences between the classes, but it still felt like it was a bit of a stretch just to get to 10 already. So I don't know what else they would add. And the fact that the 10 battle classes line up nicely with the 10 elements, I don't expect to see them add more, unless like they'd have to add a whole nother set of 10, I think, to make any sense. And I think you'd really struggle then to come up with 10 more. So I guess I don't really have a good answer for that one. Yeah. Top 5 strongest senseis. Man, that one's tough. Partly because I haven't like fully upgraded everybody, but I suppose they're gonna upgrade at the same level. So the ones I've noticed that seem to be the strongest right now, and will probably end up being my enforcers going down the road, are the Sentinels and the Smashers. So they have the most powerful attacks, in my opinion, that I've seen. If I need someone with big hits, that's who I go to. They tend to be a little bit slower, but their power makes up for it, and I'm usually okay with that. So that would include Barbella, Chopscotch, Tri-Tip, oddly enough, both Earth characters. And we have another Smasher. Who's our other Smasher? Or no, Tri-Tip was a Smasher. So who's... Oh, Hoodsickle. Duh. Hoodsickle. My boy Hoodsickle. So yeah, Barbella and Hoodsickle, Sentinels, Tri-Tip and Chopscotch for Smashers. And I know we have more of those classes coming up, but they're unreleased yet. I'm assuming they probably fall into that as well. But as for characters that have been released so far, then I'd probably also go with Ambush. He has the one big sword and kind of feels like a Smasher at times. He does have that power behind him. Once again, a little bit slower, but he has that power. So I'd probably go with those for my top 5 right now, just from characters that have been released. You may agree with them, you may not, but I think they're pretty solid choices. Alright, I think this is our last question for this week. Do you think getting to max rank in Imaginators for the Senseis is really quick? Yes and no. It really depends how you play. This year I've been playing differently than I have in years past. Typically I would take one character and basically play through the entire story as far as I can get with them, and yeah, by the end of the story they're probably at level 20. So if you play like that, yeah, getting one character up to level 20 is pretty easy. Now if you're switching characters constantly like I have been, I don't have any Sensei at level 20 right now. And it's not, I guess it feels like it's pretty easy to level up because they've thrown in a lot more of those big XP balls, or I call them level up balls most of the time, but they're just those big balls of XP that are sitting around the level that usually allow you to jump up a level. If you get a brand new character that gets one of those, you could jump up like 5, 6, 7, 8 levels at once. So in that sense, yeah, it is a little bit easier, but still, like I said, when I have this whole lineup of characters that I'm switching between constantly, I still haven't hit level 20 on any of them. And some of them I feel once you get up into the 12, 13, 14 range, it takes a while to get from level to level. And sometimes this game too, I think characters are, the enemies are a little bit tougher, or there's more of them maybe, or something that you actually die a little bit more. Or at least I'm dying a little bit more. I'll admit that. I'm dying more than I usually do in the Skylanders game. But I think part of that is that I don't have that one character that I've leveled up a bunch, and all mine are kind of low to mid-range characters right now, and so they aren't able to take as much damage, so when I get to the higher levels, they're dying off quicker. Whereas if I had that one character, like I said, that I had just played with the entire time, and now he's at level 20, then he should be able to handle the big baddies at the end of the level. And so it really depends how you play. That's the best I can say. It depends how you play, and it's easy to get one character up to 20, sure. But to get all of your characters up to 20, I think it's going to take a while. So it really depends how you're looking at it. But I'm not worried about it. I still have a lot of playing to do, even just my first time through. Right now, I have made it through the main campaign. I've played through the 2 adventure packs, and I haven't even touched the Sensei Elemental Realms. I have all of them to go through. And that's just my first time through the game. Like, I haven't even collected everything on my first time through, so I'm going to be going back and playing levels, and I'm going to have plenty of time to level my guys up just trying to complete the game. And then I still want to play it on Nightmare mode too. I haven't done that yet. So, got a lot of playing left, and I'm kind of glad my characters aren't leveled up yet, but I think it's going to take a while to level them all up anyway. So, I think it's not too easy. I think it's at a good level, and it's all in how you play. So that's all we have for this week for episode 3 of Ask Matt. Thank you once again to everybody who sent in questions. Remember, if you want to get a question in here for next week, leave it down in the comments below. That's the only place I check for questions for Ask Matt. And please subscribe, tell your friends, share the video, do whatever you can. We're always looking for new subscribers and new fans. So, I'll see you next week.